Hello and welcome to Today I Choose. And I really want to devote the next few episodes around, towards, I should say, PTSD. Like, what is it? Why do some people just get over it and some don't? Why do we all have such similar feelings around our environment? Right? And how much of this has to do, how many of us relate back to childhood trauma, right? And yeah, like what's the difference? So I would like to offer you the thought, right? I really want you to open your mind, throw away everything that you ever thought you knew, right? And first off, if you're sitting here with PTSD, those reoccurring cycles, those flashbacks, those feelings of being separate from your body or watching your body live, or all those feelings that come with PTSD, I'd like for you to really open your mind and understand, right? The difference is your magic. You're brilliant, right? You came to this planet knowing things, universal laws, and being able to put them into action, right? Albeit unconscious. Now, at the time, it was very helpful, right? It was very helpful to know what was going on in the other room. It's very helpful to, like, when your body is in pain, to be able to get out of it. It's very helpful to be able to travel to a beautiful jungle somewhere while horrible things are happening. That's beneficial when we're young, right? But when it becomes an unconscious way of dealing with our environment, it becomes hazardous, right? Like, so I like to back out and make things as simple as possible. So I like to think about those early Harry Potter movies where he's like, his emotions are raging and suddenly, something is happening in his environment and around him. And he knows he's doing it, but he doesn't know how he's doing it. And what we need to understand, in my practice, well, my journey, and then in my practice, so many times over and over and over again, I hear, well, I think I'm crazy because I had this experience, I had that experience. Well, what if instead of crazy, we're actually brilliant, right? What if you're brilliant? And in this upside down world, right, we're considered the crazy ones. And, I love when I see real life starting to be depicted on TV, right? And we're seeing that these mentally, so often what our 3D world is calling mental illness is actually brilliance, right? Just unrecognized, right? We live in a world of sameness. So over these next few weeks, I want to really dive into, right? What is the actions? What are the actions, I should say, that actually create PTSD? Now, our world is getting this all tangled up because PTSD and trauma can be two very different things. You can have 5 people in a room experiencing the same exact event, and maybe 4 of them just go on with their lives, or they have, a blip and life goes on. While one, right, ends up with PTSD. Why is that? First off, I'd like to say that, we can have these single event traumas that create the quantum actions of PTSD that have a person stuck for a minute and they can move on, right? Because they have this inner resilience. And we have a person that has had systematic trauma throughout their life, right? And when I think about our timelines, I like to think about, you know, a tree versus a bush. So as we move through these magical quantum actions that create the loops that create what we call PTSD in our lives, right? These ricochet backwards, these being triggered, these emotions that, you know, loop in our heads, right? We build our life and it crashes. We build our life and it crashes. Or we've got these cyclical events that are just following us, sometimes through generations. PTSD and karma, same gig. It's the same gig, guys. So I love when we see these convergences of thought into one form. PTSD and karma is the same thing. So if it is a quantum, if there are quantum actions around creating it, there are quantum actions around dismantling it. So PTSD is not a life sentence, right? And it is freedom. There is freedom, right? On the other side of it. I traveled the world and back, like searching for the answers, right? Of why are my siblings living very different trajectories after the same events? Why, right? What is the variable in there, right? And why do some of us just get stuck in these patterns, right? And why do some of us just move on? Now, when I was studying with Deepak Chopra, I became I was acquiring all these amazing thoughts around, you know, how we should be able to consciously move out of trauma, right? I knew it. I could teach it, but it was not changing my life, and I really needed to know why, right? What do I need to do to dismantle it? Well, the first thing was understanding, right? Understanding that it's not a dysfunction. It served you very well at the time, right? But it's causing harm today. So we can clean it up, we can dismantle it, and you can learn how to behave. And behave's not the right word. Well, sort of sometimes, right? But to show up differently without the baggage of yesterday being plastered on our foreheads, right? So stick with me as we move through this. We're going to really be talking about the quantum mechanics of PTSD, right? What are we actually doing? And can we retrace our steps, right? The QT matrix was designed around this concept that if we created it, then we can uncreate it, right? There's no magic pill. There's no magic person to do it for you. I've watched that. And it didn't change life in front of them. Just like my knowingness with Chopra. What I had to understand is, what am I doing? Because I'm still doing it. It's just unconscious, right? And the more awareness we have around what we're doing, the more control we have around trauma today. So stick with me, right? As we walk around the first action, right? Or we take a look at the first action, right? Our separation of our astral body from our physical body, dissociation. We're going to take a look at that as we come together next time. Have a great weekend. And please reach out, right? Hop on my call. It's a free 30-minute call, and let's see what we can do for you. You're brilliant. You're magic, and the world needs you right now.